Hey guys, welcome to We Watch the Movie. I'm Jay, this is Mike, and this is the review of the season finale. Holy fuck beans, it was all stuffed into amazingness. The Children.
Fuck water!
We watched a movie. Yeah. We watched a movie. We watched it. We watched a movie. Yeah. You know what? We did a review. We watched a movie.
The last episode of the season. I mean,
sucks.
it's hurtful, it's painful, you don't want to see it go, but it does happen.
But,
all
it
sorts
feels
of
so
shit happens.
good.
Yeah, so we start with John coming out of the wall after the big battle. He goes out like fucking Batman to take on everybody, like you said. And then he goes over to talk to Mance Radar, and you're in this intense scene, and it's like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? And then all of a sudden the sirens go off. He's like, you fuck! And he's like, I didn't call cops!
I will say, I like Jon Snow when I mentioned Batman, because when he does go to man, he goes, I'm here to do a peace treaty.
Yeah.
And I was waiting on him to say something like, where are the dogs going? Because he had that gravelly voice. Yeah, and then Mance Radar's like, you know, he hears a siren, and he's like, you only have 50 men on the wall, or whatever. And then he hears all this fucking army coming. He's like, God damn it. He's like, seriously, I was right there. I was like fucking ready to take
That
over.
poor bastard too. I almost felt bad for him. Like I always thought Mance Radar would be this awful freaking person, but then, the way he was talking, even he was like, we just want protection from those fucking wildings out there, man. Give us some help. But then, then,
monsters.
Well, I mean, not the wild, you know.
Oh,
okay, but yeah, the White Walkers. But you also got the sense if he'd gotten the wall, he'd just slaughtered everybody and taken it over.
I don't know, because he seemed like a pretty noble-ish kind of guy.
That's how they get you.
That's how they do it.
But then Stannis comes riding in with his fucking money and shit, and he's just like, what's all this shit? He's like, you're not dressed for this weather. But I really like the scene with Jon Snow. You really saw the Sean Bean in Jon Snow.
Yeah.
He was like, you know what, this man kept me captive and he didn't torture me or anything, and give him a break. And Stannis is like, well, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing, so okay.
I like that scene. I did like that scene a lot, and he was like, what would your father have done? And he was like, you know, he's like, he probably would have just taken him captive. He's like, okay. He's like, I was like, that's all right.
Stannis just seems weak to me. Like he can never be like a Tywin. I just never. I mean, he just seems like a.
I think he relies. I think he seems like he relies way too much on other people's opinions of what you do. Like, you know, especially that red-haired bitch. And that was one thing too. The red-haired witch they brought with them. So apparently she wants Jon Snow's wiener, because like Jon Snow's looking at it, and then she comes like under the fire, and he's like, oh.
Yeah,
like,
that's a weird.
What's
connection.
up, girl?
That's a weird connection, cheaters. But then you go on, and what happens is they kind of cut off from that. But I did like when Jon Snow says, he's like, "You must burn your dead if you've seen what I've seen," you know. And that was a badass scene. But I thought we were going White Walker territory finally. But they keep teasing the dick with that. You keep teasing us with it. We still don't get the White Walker like scenario. But I imagine that's coming way later. But anyway, we move on from that, and let's talk about Arya and the Hound, of course, because you got to talk about it. Brienne finally finds her, and it's just like it happens. Like everybody's like, "Oh, she's on that fucking rock right there," and you're like, "Holy shit, it's gonna happen!" And then this crazy ass fight scene between the Hound and her break out. And the whole time, since you like Brienne and you like him, were you not just thinking like, can't we all just get along? I just want you to be friends.
At that scene, I was like, it was like Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield. You're like, who's gonna win? And it was like Street Fighter. I was like, fight.
They did such a badass job though. Like every time you thought like, here comes the money shot, like a sword's about to go into somebody's chest, or someone's about to get their throat slit. Like right at they just played with they toyed with our minds. At the last second, someone would turn and they would miss. You know,
I wanted to hit. I wish. I mean, you knew it was gonna happen, and you know the Hound is a badass because he was taking a shit off the hillside. You know, he was taking a dump. He didn't wipe. You know he didn't wipe.
You could shit later.
So you gotta be a badass. He comes from taking a dump right away to pulling his sword and fighting this big bitch. And he didn't wipe. He probably was like, I'm gonna fight this bitch, kill her, then I'm gonna wipe my ass because he's dirty. But you know, it was really one of those things. Like, it was like, who's gonna win this fight? I don't want anybody to win because I want them to be like, I respect you. I wanted them to stop, and I was like, I know the Hound's not going to stop. But it really did show, at one point, it did show the Hound's compassion for Arya.
Oh my god.
Because he was like, it's like, what the fuck is safety? And he's like, you dumb bitch. I was like, tell him.
And you know, we got a lot of shit for calling Brienne a big bitch, even though she's an attractive lady in real life.
Yeah.
But the Hound constantly was like, that big bitch kicked my ass.
You know?
But that was a badass fight scene, and it ended only in the way Game of Thrones like could do. Like they supersede freaking everything the way they did it. Like it wasn't just a quick knife to the gut or anything like that. Like, oh, shocking death. Now we move on. They played it out perfectly. That when she's punched him in the face repeatedly and kicks him off the mountain, you're like, oh fuck!
I know.
And then like he lands there, his knees all fucked up, and the whole thing with Arya, I didn't like it.
I didn't either.
I wanted, because it's like you don't have to be. I mean, you know, even Arya knows like he's been decent to you.
Arya's only doing what he taught her to do, though. He robbed her. Or he's robbed other people before and killed them. So she went up to rob him. It's like, you know, you're. I mean, at the end of the day, you're an asshole. You killed people that I loved, and you're gonna suffer for it. But I'm like, come on, bitch. Fucking give him something. I'm like, dude, put a fucking, kill him. I was like, for God's sake! And it was like when he was falling off the mountain, I knew he was gonna die. When she punched him out, I was like, no. I was like, shit. I was like, I know you're not gonna get up, but then again, I don't know because she didn't kill him.
They never showed him die.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anything's gonna happen, but that's true. It's Tupac. They never showed him die.
He is the Hound.
But what bothered me about that scene is, I mean, she's only doing what he taught her, but we've seen Arya already be so evil, and we've really seen her grow into this, not evil, but like just this ballsy, like hardened
Worldly
girl.
person, yeah.
I don't think we really needed another example of it. And their story was so cool together. I would have rather seen like just one touching moment. Her to be like, I don't think it would have hurt anything. It wouldn't take away from her character.
Honestly, what I thought was she was going to do, which it was so out of character probably for her, but just because of what they'd gone through and how he'd actually come around to her, maybe give him a hug.
Oh, he was fine.
And then
It just seemed like he wanted to take care of her.
Like give him a hug and then stab him through the heart. But then again, I do realize that he did kill her friend, and he was doing all this other shit, and he was like, I should have fucked your sister raw. And like he was trying to, but he was just doing that to make and I would have thought at some point I would have known what he was trying to do just to get a rise out of her.
I love that scene. She's like, you want some water? He's like, fuck water. I mean, this is such a badass. But yeah, I mean, I hate to see the Hound go, but he went out with a bang. That was a badass scene.
He may be gone. We don't know.
Didn't you hate how, what's the, I can't remember, what's the assistant's name, Brandon?
Oh, Podrick.
Yeah, he was just like, oh shit.
I love that. I know. Podrick, she was like, where did Arya go? He's like, I don't know. I was watching the fight, so fuck it. Because he was like, she was right here, but he probably was like, I was watching the awesome fight, so I don't know where the little girl went.
I'm surprised he didn't do anything. Like
I thought he was gonna grab her or something, and then he was gonna get his ass kicked.
But he was just like, oh.
I would have been too. If I was in that situation, big bitch Brienne, she's okay, whatever. I'm not okay, not big bitch. Largely girl Brienne fighting the Hound. I would have probably been like, here. You want some popcorn?
But yeah, so then you go on from that, and that was amazing. Goodbye, the Hound. R.I.P. Probably. I'm 95% sure that you're dead. But so we go on from that, and what?
Let's talk about the little quick scene. Let's talk about the Danny. Let's talk about the Danny thing. Danny.
It sounds like a Pop-Tart.
Kill for him, Daddy. Curse of Michael Myers, you guys haven't seen that. Okay, so yeah, Danny, basically, this guy comes to her and says that he was a slave all his life, he's an old man, and he just wants to sell himself back into slavery because he has no purpose, and that these little shelters that she's created throughout the city isn't good enough because the young people are robbing the old people. They don't know what to do, the older people that's been slaves all their lives. So he wants to, she's like, you'll make a contract, you'll sell yourself back into him, and that's fine, you have the freedom to do that. Right after that, though, so I'm just saying, she seems the political ramifications. It's not just like free the slaves, everything's gonna be happy. It's a lot of other. I mean, these people have been slaves for all their lives.
Some motherfuckers always trying to skate uphill.
Done. And then another guy comes in and brings brittle bones. Looks like freaking Freddy Krueger from Nightmare on Elm Street 3. It's his daughter. And he's like, your goddamn dragon's fucking going around the town and roasting people. And then she's like, oh. And then she has to take care of that and put them and she puts them in the catacombs and chains down two of them.
And it's ironic because here she is spending all her time freeing people, but she has to chain what's basically her children. Yeah. So I get that, and it's cool to see the dragon.
But you want to be her to be kind of a bitch, but like, it's a dragon. I mean, I'm protecting the kingdom. It's a dragon.
Yeah.
But then again, it is a 3-year-old girl, and he's crying and stuff.
But the other
I'm not trying to be heartless, but I'm not trying to pull a Tywin. But Tywin would be like, fuck it.
I don't give a dusty fuck.
I know.
But yeah, but the other dragon is still roaming free. You don't know what's going to happen with that. But yeah, it's always cool. My take on that is, hey, it's cool to see.
I just wish there'd been a little bit more stuff. I really was hoping to see what happens to Jorah. Where he's at, what's going on with that, and they just kind of shimmy that in there a little bit. It's like, we got to throw Danny in there a minute. It's good, the finale. We got to have her in there because if you go back to the other scenes with Stannis Baratheon and Jon Snow, I mean, you see all these characters finally meeting up, finally having their stories interlock, and then you just have Danny just like right there.
Yeah, that's true. You almost excited to see a bit of like what the glimpse of the battle would become when everybody actually.
But usually, I'm all about. I want to see Danny and the Targaryen and see what she's doing with the dragons. But this time, there was so much other cool shit going on. I'm like, I want to see more what's going on. And then, of course, they go back to King's Landing.
But it's like a firecracker. I mean, it's always fun to just see the dragons.
Yeah.
Dragons.
Why are they glittery? Like they're rainbow. One of them's like rainbow.
The CGI, I will say, like for most of the show, the CGI was really good, but the dragons were kind of weird. It kind of looked video game-ish for a second there, but it was still cool, especially for it's a TV show. So
one thing really quick about the Jon Snow thing, I will say one thing that they did better in this episode. They actually showed the torment that Jon Snow had with Ygritte. Like you actually could see the love this time.
Even though I don't care that much.
I don't either, but at least they did more of an effort to show that there was a connection and he actually loved her and she loved him. And that whole scene, like it was better than the last one because when she died, it was kind of like. But this one was kind of like, okay, I get it. He was really torn up about it.
Yeah.
It worked. I don't know.
Well, Cersei is, of course, talking to Tywin, and there's like, and this is
You always
perfect
say-
that this
you always say
episode,
Cersei.
whatever the fuck, the hot chick that sleeps with the brother. She goes on and she's talking to Tywin, and she just gives the big reveal, and it's perfect that this episode was on Father's Day. I mean,
Oh,
wasn't it?
yeah, I know.
But she's like, I've been fucking my brother. There's not shit. He's like, I don't believe it.
Well,
You
she
know
didn't
what I
say
mean?
that. She didn't say specifically. She just said, you know. And he was like, what are you talking about? I love his arrogance. He was like, fuck you. Sarah, I know better. And then she's like, she's like, basically she gets balls and says, you're not going to take Tommen and you're not going to control him and then have Marjorie control him and rip him apart and send me away to Casterly Rock. So fuck you, Dad. I'm fucking my brother. Get it. And he's like, God damn it. She runs to Jamie after that, and Jamie's like, what's going on? And she's like, I told Father everything. He's like, what? So he was like, what? And then she's like, yeah, I told him everything. And he was like, and I don't care. I love my brother and I love my lover. And then he was kind of put off with it because he was pissed. First, like, you're one less brother now. I hope you're happy. And then she's like telling him all this stuff and talking sweet to him and kissing his ear. And then he's like, fuck it. And then like grabs him, like, sit on the table, rip your shit off, get dirty with it.
Yeah, no matter what's happening in Jamie's life, he'll always, fuck her. I mean, that's basically what they're saying with that. So that finally happens. I wonder what's going to happen there, if they're going to, like, rule together or some shit. Because Tywin, we'll get to that in a minute.
Is it the fall of the Lannisters right now?
Everything's in flukes.
Because if it comes out, if she's like, I don't give a shit anymore, I don't give a dusty fuck, in Jamie's word, like, that people know, let them talk. Let's give them something. But is she going to reveal to everybody, yeah, my kids are a lineage of my brother, it's pure bloodline, and we're ruling the throne, and then everybody's going to rise against them? I don't know. I mean,
it's going to be
because she's out of her mind. Like, I think right now she's fucking borderline crazy.
Yeah, that's it. She looked ugly for the first time.
I'd still done her.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was obvious.
she looked, she looked different.
I'd have boned.
Swing. But going on from that, you move on, and of course they show her in the scene where we get to find out what happens to the Mountain. Like, he's got this nasty freaking shit going on because the Vipers,
Venom.
shit was giving venom. I mean, it was poison. So like, and that old dusty fucker.
Maester Pycelle.
Yeah, he's like, no, there's nothing we can do.
I hate that.
God damn it. He's just like, dude, he's just like an idiot just walking around kicking shit. And she's like, just get the fuck out of here and let him fix his shit and bring him back to life. I don't care if he's Frankenstein or whatever. And the guy's like, what?
He was like a child. He was like, God damn it! And he like threw his fucking his
He
stethoscope.
looks like an old guy at a flea market. Like, I told you this hot dog's worth 10 cents, not 5.
I wish that guy that the other maester or whatever had been like, look, the oldest man in the world. And he was like mad throwing his stethoscope. But yeah, so
What's that? You got a dick in your beard? What?
he looked like Colonel Sanders.
So he got what he deserved. He got kicked out of there. I was happy to see that. But who knows? I don't know what's going to happen to the Mountain. He's going to come back even weirder.
Yeah, he's like, there may be side effects. He's like, will he lose his strength? It's like, no. He should have been like, his dick's going to fall off. But other than that, he's going to be fine. It's like, oh, okay. Then let it go, man.
So, and ultimately we get to the money shot. I keep saying money shot.
I don't know why.
Word
You
of
have
the
watched
day.
too many porns.
Money shots. We get to the Tyrion situation.
Oh, man.
Oh, badass. Redemption. Awesomeness. He goes in there. Jamie's like, I'm letting you the fuck go. You knew this. I like what
He's
he
like, get it over with, you son of a whore.
he was like, that's no way to talk about my mother. But like, Jamie just lets him go, and I like the warm embrace between them where he kissed him on the cheek or whatever. Yeah, it's like, yeah, that's nice. But he goes upstairs, and who would have thought Varys would have been helping him?
I kind of suspected Varys.
Well, he denounced him at the trial.
Yeah, but Varys always has been in the corner of Tyrion because he knows Tyrion's like the most level-headed guy, and I think Varys wants to fucking rule. Like, I mean, that's.
Oh yeah.
And he knows that Tyrion is smart enough and wise enough to be able to make that happen for him. And I think he kind of understood what, especially when he heard the fucking bells going off in the castle. I mean, he knew what he did because, of course, he's gonna take a fucking shot at his dad taking a shit. That's how you gotta do it. I just, that whole scene when he goes up and finds his bitch in bed with where his dad's bed, chokes that bitch with the gold chain.
I felt so bad for him in that.
But it was so weird. He chokes her. He's like, gold digging bitch, and then he pulls it down and chokes her. And then he was like, so yeah, I'm sorry. Like after he's sitting on the bed next to her, he's like, so you shouldn't have done that. He gets like psycho.
It was almost Joker. She was like, I'm sorry.
Then he goes to his dad and he finds him on the shitter. He's like, you're not going to kill me. You're my son. He's like, call a whore one more time. And he's like, she's just a whore. He's like, boom. And I'm like, damn.
But dude, I love that he died on the toilet because he's always been so like, I'm so much better than everybody else and I'm a snotty nose
died like
bastard.
Elvis.
He died on the fucking. He even says he's like, let's just go to my chambers and talk about it. You're not going to make me die in the toilet, or whatever. But
The privy.
Yeah, I like that he did. I liked how he died, but I never saw. I mean, he never saw him die either.
I love. Well, yeah, but he's dead. I mean,
sure
he shot him in the fucking heart and in the shoulder.
It looked more like the shoulder than the heart. His stomach and the shoulder. But I'm sure he's dead. I'm just saying, if you wanted to go there,
I think it's funny that when he did that though, and he dropped the crossbow and he's walking out. I just wish there was a song like, "Damn, it feels good to be a gangster."
But the way he reloaded it,
Yeah,
dude, that was badass. When he's
loved
just
it.
like, yeah, go ahead and finish that last little turn.
He
Pop,
looked like-
that,
he
pop
looked
that hanger on or out.
He looked like Punisher.
It'd be funny if he's like, you want me to wait for you to wipe with your silk sheets or?
I think he was done. I think he was just so shocked. He was like, this is awkward. You're not gonna let me die like this, right? My wings hanging out." So,
Yeah. So
yeah.
But that was amazing. It was awesome to see Tyrion get his. It was awesome to see him take down his dad, who's been a dick to him. And even Charlie's like, "You are my son." And he's like, "I'm over this shit."
You know, Varys, when he was sitting there, he heard the bells go off at the castle, and he's on the boat with him, and he's in that little box, and he's sitting there, and he's like looking around. He's like, "God damn." He's like, "What are we gonna do?"
Varys, though, I think Varys was originally going to go back, and then
I think he did.
He heard like the bells. He was like,
But then again,
fuck.
Varys is a slick little fucker. I mean, he could go back and be like, he did that, and then play, both sides against the middle. I mean, he could still do that.
"Dickless motherfuckers always trying to skate uphill."
Of course, towards the end, you get Arya, and she goes to the boat, and she finds the guy, and she wants to go to the wall, and the guy's like, "No, get away from me, child. I don't care about your coins and your
Yeah.
little face." And she's like, "Look at this." And he's like, "Oh, really?"
A man wants.
But it was almost like she pulled. Like she kept begging him, "I've got money, and he's like, "No, I don't want to. I'm not going to the wall. We're going to Bravos." And when she hears Bravos, she's like, "Staples, easy button. Here you go." And he's like, "Oh shit."
And the male panties drop. He gets her on the boat to go wherever you want to. I think she's going to Bravos, but you mentioned he said he
I
got
think
her
he-
cabin. Maybe
yeah, I
she's
think-
going to the north. I'm not sure exactly what her plans are. If they're going to take her all the way to the north, or if they're just saying, "Well, you can get your free ride." I don't know. But who knows what the hell's going to happen? Shit's going to get super crazy next season, and I think that this has been the best season of Game of Thrones.
Fuck yeah, I totally agree with that. I think this episode was amazing as shit. I mean, how do you stuff that shit in there, Brendan? Fucking put all that awesome
like a
thing in a
fucking
can of
turducken.
raviolis of awesome.
It's turducken.
I can't say awesome anymore. But yeah, so I love this episode. I thought it was awesome. I thought they caught everything. I said awesome again. I think it was
okay.
stellar. I think they pulled everything together. I think they're introducing new plot lines. They're of course they're gonna leave that hanger on. What's gonna happen next? But that keeps you coming back. And it was fucking an hour and 15 minutes. I loved it. Even though I don't think they actually showed the hour and 15. I think
It was like an hour and 6 minutes.
Yeah, I hate that shit.
But either way, you're right.
Were you like hitting the button?
Oh, and oh my God! That. Of course, little children, the children of the woods. They go out
We
there.
didn't mention Jojen or
Yeah,
Bran.
they go out there, and Jojen's like, "I knew what was going to happen." They find the tree in the wilderness and all that shit like that. And all of a sudden, it's Army of Darkness time. These badass fucking skeletons start popping out of the ground and killing people and getting killed and shit. That was so fucking awesome.
Did you not-
Those things look so cool and freaky, but yet beatable at the same time. It was
Yeah.
like the world's greatest video game. It was like, these things are scary and they look awesome, but you can also blow them apart with like one kick. It was
Well,
awesome.
the first thing I thought was I saw that tree. I was like, the Chronicles of Narnia, because they had that like sunlight. And then when it gets like those skeletons come up, I was like, this is Castlevania.
Yeah.
It's like the video game Castlevania, and they're just skeletons running around.
But-
but they're tough.
Let's
They're
be
tough.
honest, it was probably the best depiction of the live like skeleton I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Army of Darkness did it; it was corny, even though it was badass and awesome. Nightmare on Elm Street tried to do it when he was
that
just a
was terrible.
skeleton. Anytime people usually try to use skeletons to make them scary, it sucks. This was fucking sick. This was awesome.
I
the way
loved,
they did it.
and then of course the whole fight scenes going on, Jojen and all and his sister and Bran and his dog. All of a sudden these fucking lightning bolts, very very frightening, come out of his hand, and like all of a sudden, boom! You're like, holy shit, where did that come from? I was like, this is Avengers 2, and like this looks like, come with me if you want to live.
She was so weird, and she was like, "No one knows about us, but we're over here in the cabin."
And then of course,
people's houses.
so apparently she throws out lightning bolts of fire. You go with that girl. 'Cause
Yeah.
She just blew up some skeletons and shit. I'm like, so they go through. Jojen dies because he gets. I mean, it was kind of scary.
It was-
Because it's like boom, boom, and he's like, ooh. I'm like,
Yeah.
holy shit!
It was
that's
just
kinda
so
freaky.
cold and weird.
Yeah. And then his sister slices his neck so they don't take him over or whatever. She runs up there and they go through this like underground tree area, and then
And the three-eyed raven.
they find Gandalf the Grey sitting on a throne, and he was like, "I've been watching you all your life," and I'm like, "Oh."
They finally get to the three-eyed raven, and he basically says, "Yeah, I'm gonna help you." Whatever.
He
that-
did look like
but-
Gandalf. I thought it was that whole scene, like when they're walking in the wintry thing. I was just waiting on one of them to fall down. Like when Jojen kept falling down, she's like, "We can rest if you want." I was waiting him to fall down and be like, see a picture of Obi-Wan Kenobi, like, "Go to the Dagobah system, and there you will find my master Yoda." It just felt like that was gonna happen.
He was just like perched up with these branches and shit. It looked all weird and stuff. But yeah, no, that was bad. That was like a fantasy element
Yeah.
superstars right there. It was just like all this crazy. Like, I'm gonna throw these fireballs at these giant skeletons. It's like, what the fuck just happened to Game of Thrones? But it was still really fucking cool.
I think the children, they're like fairies or something. They
We're
use.
the children of the night.
There's a green face.
It reminds me of Army of Darkness when the little skeletons run up to the camera. Like, let's get out of here. Like, it was weird, but it was still badass looking. So, 10.
10. Right away. 10
10
across the
Canine
board.
Cop. Rin Tin.
Rin 10.
Rin
Canine
Tin
Cop
Tin.
with Christian Slater.
No, that was John Belushi.
Was he? Oh,
Turner
fuck.
Gooch was Tom Hanks.
I was thinking Cuffs.
But anyways, guys, what did you guys think about the episode? What do you think is going to happen in the next season? I think it's going to be super badass. Just comment below. What do you give the season as a whole? I give the season as a whole a 10 overall. It's a 10. It's the
10.
best season of Game of Thrones since the first one. Totally, I think the best overall. You got Joffrey dying. You had all this crazy shit happening. It was fucking amazing. We're going to do some more TV show reviews. We'll get back to you on that. Guys, if you've just been watching this for our Game of Thrones reviews, subscribe so that you don't forget about us over the season, so that when the next Game of Thrones reviews come up, you already have us in your box. We'll be up in your box. You see what I'm saying? You see what I did there?
Ooh.
Be in your box. So click the subscribe button.
It's going to be purely cordial if you want that.
But we'll also be doing other HBO shows, other stuff like that. Just subscribe, comment below, let us know what you guys thought of the season. Until next time, guys, I'm Mike, he's Jay, and fuck water.
We watched a movie. Yeah. We watched a movie.